We're continuing our series on first clears, and we've got another one that I'm pretty positive only a handful of people in the game have been able to clear out in Realm of Fate, and that's the Arkham's Most Wanted challenge. I believe the only people who've been able to do this so far are Prez, Dragoon, and Arkaluk. This is footage from Arkaluk. He was able to clear this out within the last few days. I believe he sent this over to me on October 9th. Depending on which day you see this video, it may have been a while since I did this recording. Now, you will notice that he's using Scarecrow and Bane up front. Really important to use those two champions. In particular, Bane actually is a really good champion in modes like Training Simulator if you're running Arkham's Most Wanted. Just incredible champion in terms of self-sustain, and he can do a little bit of damage as well. He has a stun. Well, I guess that's debatable how you want to characterize it, but his ultimate move is able to kind of incapacitate targets for a very short duration, but very strong. And then we've got Penguin in the fifth slot, which to me I thought was surprising. A lot of people have been running Two-Face lately. I would have thought that Two-Face probably would have provided better support to be able to clear this out than Penguin would. But let's watch the fight. We'll try to break it down a little bit. He's going up against one Deathstroke and four Harleys. There's going to be a massive amount of AoE damage coming out from those Harleys, I would imagine. And then obviously you have Deathstroke, who's going to be probably targeting Joker right off the bat. So let's kind of see how this plays out. All right, so the fight's getting started. You can see that Deathstroke goes directly for Joker and gets him basically down to 1 HP. Somehow, miraculously, he's able to survive. You can see massive amounts of damage coming in for Bane, but he's able to self-sustain and heal as well. And we get our Ivy heal off, which is able to kind of get the team up to reasonable levels again. And really, from this point, if you can keep your team alive, you're just trying to spam Joker's ultimate as many times as possible. You also want to be getting Scarecrow's ult off as much as possible as well, because between the two of those, they're going to be putting a lot of debuffs on the team. You can see all the debuffs on the opponents here. Quite difficult to try to get that Deathstroke down, but once you get the Deathstroke down, it's basically game over. You can see a little bit of targeting there where he's trying to make sure that as much damage as possible goes on to the Deathstroke. Got him down with about 30 seconds left, and then it's really just about making sure that you continue to apply your damage over time abilities to the Harleys to try to take them out. But really, the fight was over as soon as the Deathstroke was killed. There you go. Took those last couple of out. You can see that Joker was able to do a majority of the damage here. Obviously, his damage over time, his Joker Venom is what is the true, I guess, win condition for the Arkham's Most Wanted Realm of Fate. And so, no surprise that Joker did most of the work there. But I would say pretty much impossible for him to do that if you didn't have Scarecrow and Bane up front tanking a lot of that damage. Ivy putting out a pretty ridiculous amount of healing there. And then I'm curious what he was running on his Penguin, because it looks like he might have had Starbolts equipped. So let's take a look. I believe he's going to show us the gear that he was using, and we'll see exactly how he was able to pull it off. First up, we have Joker, and his Joker's gear is not overly impressive. We've got a full set of Arkham's Most Wanted tagged gear, so you're getting that 20% bonus to stats, but only level 1 on the transmutes. And you can see that he was using the scepter, but the scepter is at 0 stars. So, definitely a champion that is obtainable for you over time with all the reruns that we're getting lately. You're going to have to be patient to get there. It's going to take you a few months, but you can get a champion to the point that Arkaluk's Joker is. So I think that's pretty promising for a lot of players out there. You can see Poison Ivy has a full set of tag synergy gear, and she's actually using the guitar, which is a pretty interesting choice. I've seen setups like this recently with some other teams some other folks that I've talked to in the community. And there's some folks who are running the guitar on healers in combat cycle. So pretty interesting choice there. The big takeaway for the guitar being that it increases energy restoration speed pretty heavily, and it also, like, anytime the person who's wearing it casts their ultimate, it will increase all the allies attack by 10%, and that can actually stack up to 5 times. It's pretty nice to have that because you don't necessarily have to have it on Superboy for that effect to be active. And as I suspected, Penguin was using Starfire's Starbolts. He has those at 5 white stars, which again is fairly obtainable. And that's one of those legacy pieces that I typically recommend to folks that they should be building for their account, because it's one that, I mean, it is a little bit gimmicky, but I mean, obviously you see proof positive here that it can be used for some of these fights where you need a little bit of extra healing, but you can't bring a second healer to the fight. So, you know, pretty interesting, but not surprising that Penguin had Starfire Starbolts. I wonder, obviously, you can't use Starfire's Starbolts on Two-Face, and so that clearly explains why he brought Penguin into this fight. Otherwise, Penguin probably really didn't offer much value at all. So we've got the 5 pieces of tag synergy gear, but very low transmutes. Again, we got a theme here as far as that goes. So another champion that, you know, fairly obtainable here. I really think, you know, Arkham's Most Wanted, if you have a really heavily invested Joker, is one of the more obtainable clears that you're going to have for your account, depending on, you know, what you focused on early on in the game. We've got Bane with a full set of tag synergy gear, actually using Superman's cape. So if it's been a while since you've read the description for Superman's cape, it does provide a decent amount of attack percent and crit damage. And then the skill It Means Hope, which is the one that can be attributed to non-Superman cape wearers. At the start of the battle, it increases the wearer's physical and spiritual defense by 1% per second, and that will stack up to 30%. So pretty significant amount of damage reduction through that physical and spiritual defense over the first few seconds of the battle. And then we have Scarecrow. Scarecrow's using, again, another 5 pieces of tag synergy gear, low transmutes on this gear as well. And we do have Scarecrow's legacy weapon equipped here, but it is at 0 stars. So again, another obtainable piece. We haven't seen any, you know, heavily invested legacy pieces here for this. So, I mean, it actually makes it a quite impressive run to see that he's using legacy pieces that don't have a ton of stars to them. You're not having to spend thousands of magic eyes to make this work. You're probably spending, it looks like, more like 1,000 to maybe 1,200 magic eyes to get it up and running. Well, that's going to do it for this video. Let me know down in the comments below whether you have started working on Arkham's Most Wanted, where you're at with it, and which team you found the most success with. As always, if you haven't already done so, consider subscribing to the channel. If you do, you'll get notified anytime I put out new DC Dark Legion content like this. And if not, I hope to see you on the next video.